Why is Trump's phone call with Taiwan such a big deal? U.S. President-elect Donald Trump took one phone call from Taiwan, and everybody lost their minds. But why? Civil war that broke out in China in 1927 involved communist revolutionaries led by Mao Zedong and the Nationalist government. The Nationalists, who were defeated in 1949, fled to Taiwan, where they hoped to retake the mainland. Fighting eventually ceased, with the two sides being ruled separately. However, both sides continued to claim rightful rule over all of China. Communist-ruled China has maintained that Taiwan is a breakaway province, and that the two sides must eventually unify. The Taiwan-based government at the time declared mainland China was being controlled by illegitimate communist rebels. To this day, Taiwan is formally known as the Republic of China, while mainland China is officially the People's Republic of China. For decades, the United States and its allies recognized the government in Taiwan as China's rightful rulers, with Taiwan officials claiming China's seat at the United Nations. However, the U.S. eventually switched recognition from Taiwan's government to Beijing in 1979, and many other countries followed suit. Today, Taiwan is a democratic sovereignty, where most of its citizens say they will not surrender their freedoms to unify with the mainland. However, Taiwan is also unable to formally declare independence, as China has threatened such a move with military force. China is also concerned that an independent Taiwan would create a precedent for other regions such as Tibet to more vigorously push for separatism. China has made convincing threats. It conducted missile exercises in 1996 when Taiwan held its first direct presidential elections. The move was aimed at keeping people from voting for Li Denghui, who has advocated Taiwan's separate status from China. Despite the intimidation tactic, Taiwan saw a 76% voter turnout, and Li was elected with a 54% majority. Although tension between the two sides continue, Taiwan and China have increased cooperation over the years in the forms of postal, trade, and transportation links. Since the controversy surrounding Taiwan made headlines, members of the American public have questioned why the U.S. sells military equipment to Taiwan if it will not formally recognize Taiwan as a sovereign nation. The U.S. passed a law requiring the government to provide Taiwan with defensive weapons in case of potential aggression from China. However, to maintain the status quo, the U.S. has at the same time maintained that its official policy does not support an independent Taiwan. To keep the peace, the U.S. has retained an ambiguous position of keeping close relations to Taiwan while refusing to recognize its independence. Trump's phone conversation with Taiwan's president was a shock to China, as taking her call alongside other foreign leaders could be seen as the U.S.'s nod to Taiwan's sovereign status. However, whether one phone call signals an actual shift in U.S. policy remains to be seen. See a story that really should be animated? Suggest stories to TomoNews now.